1960s, two African-American entrepreneurs hire a working-class white man to pretend to be the head of their business empire while they pose as a janitor and a chauffeur. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new movie review, and today we're talking about the Apple TV Plus original film, The Banker, my very first Apple TV Plus movie review. For those that have been following me for a while, know that I've reviewed pretty much all their TV shows, but very excited to talk about this movie in this non-spoiler review. Before we dive into it, as you all can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts. If you're new to this channel, definitely consider subscribing, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up, really helps out the channel, but also I really appreciate it. And last but not least, guys, if and when you've seen The Banker, let me know what you all thought of the film in the comments below. Let's have some fun discussions down there. So yeah, like I said, I have been a Apple Plus user since day one. When I got my new iPhone, it came free for a year. And like I said, if you've been on my channel for a while, I've reviewed The Morning Show, Servant, Dickinson, For All Mankind, the first 3 episodes, Truth Be Told, did I say C already? And most recently I'm watching, The Amazing Story. So I'm very familiar with the platform, and I've been pretty satisfied with it. But I was very interested to see how it looks for a original movie on Apple TV Plus. So starting off with the positives, guys. First and foremost, after I got done watching the movie last night, I was very, very satisfied with the performances. Number one, we know Anthony Mackie in the MCU, as well as Sam Jackson. Nicholas Hoult, who's been a really good up-and-coming actor, almost was going to be casted as Batman, but, he has a lot of bright things in his future. Nia Long, this cast was really well-rounded and really diverse, and I really liked the performances, starting off with some of our supporting cast members. Nia Long, I grew up with Nia Long, guys, watching all those romantic comedies and romantic movies back in the day, and I've just been a fan of hers for a while, and I thought that at first when the film kind of played out, I'm like, oh, it's nice to see Nia Long in this movie, and I didn't think she was going to have much to do in this film, but she surprisingly had a lot to do with this movie and has some really good moments in this film. Again, during this time in the 1950s, in the 1960s, obviously things were harder for minorities, and particularly in the black community, but also it was just as hard for a woman of that time, let alone you add in her race. So I thought that Nia Long kind of added that element to the story, and she did a really good job of being a strong, woman and supporting her husband and her family, but also just being a strong individual character within herself. And I thought that Nia Long really did a good job in that. You have some other surrounding characters like Nicholas Hoult. Like I said, guys, he's been a really great actor in my opinion. Ever since I saw him, in Mad Max Fury Road and seeing him in some more serious roles, I'm very fond of his work. And yes, it would have been really interesting to see him play Batman, but I'm pretty satisfied and happy with what we're going to get with Robert Pattinson come next year. But Nicholas Hoult, man, he really gives this character a lot of layers and dimensions. On paper, this character could have went one certain way and been played a certain way, but there's something about Nicholas Hoult in regards to he plays a certain role in this movie, and he does things that, okay, he's a little bit different, but then it kind of goes into the route that you thought it was going to go. But the vulnerability of Nicholas Hoult and you feel sincere from him, and you feel like he's coming at a position where he actually does care about these people, is played really, really well by Nicholas Hoult. And like I said, it could have went one way, and it kind of goes in a certain direction, but if it was another actor in that role, I don't know if I would have felt as sympathetic for the character, but I thought Nicholas Hoult did a really good job. And also playing against some really good, actors in Sam Jackson, who, if you've never seen one of my reviews before, talking about Sam Jackson, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. Of course, he's played some crazy, outrageous roles. He does, a lot of crazy stuff at times, but at heart, the guy is a fantastic actor, and you get a lot of Sam Jackson in this movie. You see the Sam Jackson-isms, if you want to call it that, the quick lines, the funny jokes, the one-liners that kind of hit, but also the dramatic moments. And this character that he's playing, and again, a lot of these characters are based on true people, because this is a true story. Sam Jackson playing Joe Morris, I thought was a fantastic character, very flamboyant, very kind of, in your face in regards to just, if he wants something, he goes about it a certain way, very different to Anthony Mackie, who I'm going to talk about here as Bernard Garrett. But I was really, really impressed by Sam Jackson, which at this point, there, he can do anything, right? But I was really, really impressed by his performance, and I thought that he gave us the Sam Jacksonisms that we normally see, but he also gave you a little bit more layers and a little bit more in-depth characterization within this character here that was based on, again, Joe Morris of real life. Going back to who Sam Jackson played against in regards to his co-lead, and that is played by Anthony Mackie, who, again, we got a little MCU love going on right now with, Nick Fury and Sam who's playing the Falcon, aka the future Captain America. Anthony Mackie is someone that I've been watching for a while, guys. I've seen him in the comedies, The Pain and Gains, seen him in the MCU as a superhero, and this was another layer and another thing to put on his resume as far as a kind of a serious role. And he's played other serious roles before, and I really enjoyed it, but this as his film, as far as he's the lead of this movie. He's playing this character, Bernard Garrett, again, based on a true character who has he's a very intelligent man. He wants the best for his people and just people in general, but in particular the African-American community. He did so much for the community and did so much for how things are now, especially for me personally. The story really did hit me on a personal level because my day-to-day work, my job, my business invokes a lot of the stuff that this film has to talk about. And if it wasn't for, Bernard and Joe and a lot of other people in the past that have made, opportunities a little bit better for minorities, who knows where we'll be at, in 2020. So there's a lot to this character that I really appreciated. It was a lot of layers to this character. He could have played it one way, kind of straightforward, the straight man, but he has some complexities about the character. And there's a couple moments in the film where he's playing, I don't want to compare them to these characters, but you see Sam Jackson's maybe like a Malcolm X type of character, no nonsense type of way in some regards, and you see kind of Anthony Mackie's character as kind of a Martin Luther King, but when push comes to shove, he knows how to speak up for himself and speak up for his family and things like that. So I really enjoyed the performance that we got from Anthony Mackie, and like I said, across the board, the performance was really solid. I thought the direction was really solid across the board. The writing was pretty good at times, and we'll talk about some of the negatives of the writings, but all in all, guys, I was very impressed by this film. Again, this is my first time watching an Apple TV Plus movie, and if they continue to make movies that have subject matters that talk about things that matter today, how things in the past have affected the future, some important people that have, again, helped out, not just minorities, but just people in general, I think this is a good route for Apple. So as far as, negatives or criticisms about the film, I will say it's a 2-hour movie, and whenever you have a movie that's based on true events, in the way that the film is structured without giving too much away, we start the film kind of in a place where you see the character kind of back against the wall, and then the film goes back to kind of show you how the character gets there. Some of those moments in the beginning feel like highlight reels where it's like, okay, oh, how did they meet? How did that relationship kind of prosper? You see a lot of that stuff off screen. I would have liked to have spent more time in certain moments, especially when you're dealing with this subject matter in regards to racism and things of that nature. I would have liked to have spent more time in certain elements within the first half of the film. But as the film gets further and further, you meet characters. Sam Jackson, Anthony Mackie's characters start to develop a relationship. You have Nicholas Hoult get into the mix. You have Nia Long. As the film progresses, a lot of that stuff that kind of felt rushed at the beginning kind of evens out. And for me personally, the film got better and better as the film went on. So another thing that I wish would have hit a little bit more harder or was structured differently was the actual ending of the film. Not giving too much away, but this is one of those films where at the end you get the title cards and it tells you what happened after the certain events. I would have liked to have seen some of those events played out, but again, it's only 2 hours, so I know they didn't have that much time to really go into depth with some of the stuff that happened after the fact. But those are just kind of minor things, guys. All in all, I was really impressed by this film. Again, if we can get more stories like this on Apple TV Plus, then I think some people, because I know a lot of people don't have the service. Again, I find myself being one of the few people that reviews the shows and things like that. So I wouldn't necessarily say this movie is the movie that you need to get Apple TV Plus, but I will say if you take the combination of the shows plus this movie, it's something you might want to check out for $4.99, or if you buy a new Apple product, it's free for a year. So all in all, guys, I was really impressed by The Banker, and I will give this a solid 3.8 out of 5. I really recommend you all check it out, and when you do, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. Check out my current videos that I have on my channel now for TV reviews, such as Apple TV Plus Amazing Stories, Devs Episode 4, we got some other stuff. I watched Netflix, The Platform. Really good, solid weekend for movies, for streaming services. But check out my review for The Platform, and I will have some more things coming this week. So thank you all for watching this review. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you. Be safe out there, and we'll see you all on the next video.